In modern life, we are constantly faced with different types of people who can influence our emotional and psychological sphere. Some of them can inspire us, support us, and help us achieve our goals. But there are also those who can negatively affect our well-being and inner harmony. In this video, we will look at 10 types of people with whom you should be especially careful and learn how to say no to such people, their interference, negativity, and manipulation. You will learn how to develop the resilience and wisdom of the Stoics to gain inner strength and confidence. This is a key step to self-discovery and personal growth. Together, we can achieve inner freedom and learn to stand up for our values and aspirations. Let's begin the exciting journey to deep self-discovery and understanding of the world around us. Type number 1. People who often manipulate. In our modern lives, we cross paths with a variety of personalities, and some of them masterfully use manipulation to achieve their goals at our expense. However, through Stoic philosophy, we can learn to say no to manipulators and protect our inner freedom. Probably each of us has encountered manipulators at least once in our lives. These people are skillful masters, able to use the perception of our weaknesses and desires to influence our decisions. They promise us what we want to hear in order to get what they need from us. Such people may use deception, flattery, pressure, or even thunderstorms to gain their favor. But the principles of Stoicism teach us not to give in to their manipulations. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You are not deceived by other people, but you deceive yourself." This reminds us of the importance of being aware of our own thoughts, emotions, and reactions to external events. When we develop Stoic steadfastness, we become smarter and more aware. We can recognize manipulation and refuse it. We don't have to make decisions based on outside influences. Instead, we can listen to our values, principles, and inner compass. Let's say you are offered to participate in a business deal that seems too good to be true. The manipulator may use promises of quick and easy profits to entice you. But instead of agreeing without thought, Stoicism teaches us to stop, question ourselves, and analyze the situation with calmness and clarity. The words of the great Aurelius, "Listen to your inner harmony, become yourself." This encourages us to trust our intuition and consciously make decisions based on our values and principles, not on external expectations or manipulation. Let's develop Stoic wisdom together and learn to say no to manipulators. Don't give them power over your decisions and emotions. Always remember that you have control over yourself, your thoughts, and your life. Type number 2. People who never trust anyone. Striving for autonomy and maintaining inner freedom is what Stoicism teaches us. Life is a long, winding road, and on our way we may encounter distrustful people who always suspect ulterior motives in others and are skeptical of acts of kindness or help. However, through Stoic philosophy, we can learn to say no to these distrustful people and maintain our inner integrity. Distrust is often a fear-driven reaction to past negative experiences or fears of deception. Mistrustful people tend to see hidden pitfalls in all the actions and words of others. They may reject benevolence or offered help, believing that there are hidden interests or intentions behind it. However, Stoicism will teach us not to be influenced by mistrust and not to let it limit our ability to trust and build relationships. One of the great Stoics, Epictetus, said, "Not everyone who smiles is friendly. It is up to your soul to be kind and open." This quote reminds us that we choose how to treat others and what principles guide our behavior. So when we encounter distrustful people, we can apply the principles of Stoicism to preserve our inner integrity and not allow distrust to control our behavior. Suppose you have a co-worker who always suspects you of ulterior motives and never believes your intentions to help. Instead of letting his distrust influence you and cause irritation or frustration, you can apply the Stoic principle and treat him with understanding. You can realize that his distrust is his own choice and does not reflect your true nature or intentions. We must be able to control our own reactions and emotions. Mistrustful people may try to make us angry or insecure, but we can choose to remain calm and confident in our intentions. So let their distrust not limit our ability to trust and build relationships. Type number 3. People who often resort to lying. Unfortunately, in our lives we often encounter people for whom deception has become a habitual way of interacting with others. But we must be able to resist the influence of those who always seek to deceive and influence us. After all, only we ourselves can protect ourselves from the harm that unscrupulous lies do to us. But what to do to preserve your inner strength and independence? How can we resist the influence of liars? Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us how to be strong and confident even when confronted by lying people. The philosophy offers us a few principles that will help us resist their influence and say no. Let us remember the words of Epictetus: "No one can do harm unless you consent to it." The first principle is to realize that we cannot control the actions of others. We can only control ourselves, our thoughts, reactions, and actions. If we allow false people to influence us, we give them our power, but we have a choice to react or not react to their lies. The second principle is to develop inner strength and independence. We must realize that our thoughts and emotions are our own business. Lying people may try to instill doubt and insecurity in us. But let's remember the words of Marcus Aurelius: "What happens inside us influences our reaction to external events." We must learn not to accept other people's doubts and fears and not allow them to invade our lives. The third Stoicism is setting clear boundaries. We can determine what we are willing to accept and what we are not. Don't let people who lie often violate your personal sphere. Defend your values and principles despite their attempts to influence you. So, to be able to say no to lying people, stay true to yourself, control your thoughts and emotions, and set clear boundaries. It is important to realize that lying people can be so because of their own fears and insecurities. Their lies are their problem, not ours. We can be sympathetic to them, but we should not allow their lies to affect our lives. So it is worth saying a firm no to those who try to deceive you and influence you. Type number 4. People who are constantly jealous of others. Envious people may try to suppress us by instilling doubts, criticizing our achievements, or even hindering our development. However, through Stoicism, we can learn to say no to them and maintain our independence, determination, and inner harmony. We should always, first of all, turn to ourselves and internally control our thoughts, actions, and reactions. We realize that envious people cannot harm us if we do not allow them to influence our state of mind. We focus on our goals and don't let envy become a destructive force for us. It is also important to realize that outside opinion does not determine our worth. Stoicism teaches us to separate ourselves from the envious opinions of others and recognize our own worth and accomplishments. We build our inner well-being on the basis of our inner values, not on the basis of external approval or imitation of others. When we are clear about our priorities and goals, we keep moving forward on the path of self-development and purpose. Envious people may try to distract us or convince us that we are not worthy of success. But we realize that we accept criticism as an integral part of the growth process and use it for our own improvement. Ultimately, saying no to envious types of people means freeing ourselves from their influence and becoming the master of our own destiny. As a result, we build a happy and fulfilling life despite the envious people's attempts to suppress us. Type number 5, toxic friends. There is a priceless resource in each of our lives that we must protect and cherish: our emotional well-being. However, on our journey, we sometimes encounter people who consume this value, poisoning our thoughts and disrupting our harmony. These are toxic friends, those who sow doubt, negativity, and seek to drag us down into their black hole of emotional chaos. When we recognize their influence and realize our worth, we gain the power to say no to them. Of course, we realize that having toxic friends is collaborating with an enemy that robs us of our peace and pulls us into an endless vortex of negativity. We have to make the decision to stop this and put our emotional health first. Saying no to toxic friends is an act of ego and self-defense. It is our choice to not let them invade our lives and take away our joy and peace of mind. We put up boundaries that protect us from their influence and deflect the negative emotions they try to impose. When we say no, we free ourselves from toxic relationships that only stunt our growth and keep us stuck in the past. We open doors to new opportunities and to meeting people who inspire us, support us, and help us grow. Of course, we should never deny the importance of friendship and mutual support. We simply separate ourselves from those who are unable to offer us healthy and positive relationships. By choosing the quality of friendship over the quantity of friends, it is possible to build our social circle on a foundation of mutual respect, support, and emotional safety. So always try to surround yourself with people who add joy, love, and inspiration to your life, help you develop as a person, and enjoy emotional freedom. Type number 6. People who are often lazy. Quite often we come across lazy people, whether it is our daily life or work. They lack motivation and perseverance to achieve their goals. Instead of taking action, they put tasks on hold and let laziness rule over their lives. Although each of us may experience laziness at times, there are some people for whom laziness becomes a characteristic trait. When we encounter people who are lazy, Stoicism suggests that we tap into their motivation and realize that laziness can be caused by a variety of factors. Some people may have a fear of failure or low self-esteem that makes them less likely to be active. Others may be overwhelmed by negative emotions or simply not see the value in completing a task. Of course, we should try to understand their motives before we judge them. The great Stoic Seneca said, "There is nothing wrong with being lazy sometimes if you know how to manage yourself." This phrase reminds us that everyone can face laziness, but it is important to decide how we deal with it. When we encounter lazy people, it is important to remember our own boundaries. The Stoics taught us to say no when we feel our time and energy will be used thoughtlessly or we are being neglected. The key is to maintain a balance between helping and self-protection. Imagine being asked to do someone else's work, even though you are already overwhelmed with your own tasks. Instead of taking on an extra load, you can say no and explain that you already have your own responsibilities that need attention. This will help you save your energy and time for the important things. We should not take responsibility for someone else's inactivity and inefficiency. It is important to remember that we can help them develop independence and responsibility, but not at the expense of our own energy and time. By saying no, we protect our personal boundaries and conserve resources for important tasks. As Epictetus said, "No one can steal your time unless you allow it." These words remind us that we don't have to satisfy lazy people at the expense of our own time and well-being. Type number 7. Negative critics. In our lives, we sometimes encounter negative critics, people who constantly criticize our actions, ideas, or successes. But how can we maintain our confidence and not be influenced by negative opinions? When we encounter negative critics, Stoicism suggests that we change our attitude toward their opinions. It teaches us to realize that we cannot control what other people think of us. The great Stoic Epictetus said, "Don't worry about what others say about you. Worry that you yourself do not say anything bad about others." We must not let negative critics define our worth or affect our sense of self. It is important for us to remember that we are only responsible for our actions and reactions to the world around us. One of our core values is to remain confident and strong in all circumstances. When faced with negative critics, the Stoics teach us to remain steadfast and keep moving forward. The great Stoic Marcus Aurelius said, "When you are criticized, remember that it is something independent of you. It is merely another person's opinion." We can use this wisdom to not let negative critics undermine our confidence in ourselves and our abilities. At times, the best approach may be to simply ignore negative comments. Remember that you don't have to respond to every criticism. Focus on your goals and don't let them infiltrate your sphere of influence. But we can also be compassionate and understanding, even toward negative critics. We can recognize that behind these people are their own fears, insecurities, or frustrations. Recall the words of the Stoic Seneca, "No one offends us unless we ourselves allow ourselves to be offended." Empathy can help us maintain inner harmony and not allow negativity to affect our emotions. Instead of taking negative criticism personally, we can use it as an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. It is important to remember saying no to negative critics is a demonstration of our fortitude and self-confidence. Remember, negative critics can be a source of growth and development if we learn to use their comments constructively. So, be resilient in a world where negative criticism is common. Say no to these types of people, stay strong, and keep moving forward. Type number 8. Self-centered people. Self-centered people are those people who always put themselves first and do not consider our interests and needs. But how do we maintain our independence and not let these people take advantage of us? The Stoics teach us to maintain our independence and personal freedom despite the self-centered people around us. We must remember that we do not have to fulfill all the desires and demands of others. We are entitled to our own opinions and choices. Marcus Aurelius said, "No one can deprive us of our independence unless we give it up ourselves." Remember that your independence and freedom is in your own hands. Don't let self-centered people control your life and limit you. It is important to set clear boundaries and protect your time and energy from this type of person. Don't be afraid to say no and stand up for yourself. Define your priorities and don't let self-centered people distract you from them. Give your time and attention to the people and things that really matter to you. As the Stoic Seneca said, "Don't let trivialities and the constant demands of others determine how you spend your life." Don't forget that we are entitled to our personal freedom. Set boundaries, prioritize your priorities, and focus on your well-being. Instead of wasting energy resisting or trying to change a self-centered person, focus on developing your own qualities and achieving your goals. Type number 9. People who are dissatisfied with everything. Sometimes we encounter people who are constantly dissatisfied with the world around them. They carry negativity, and their energy can have an impact on our own well-being. When we encounter disgruntled people who spread negativity and unhappiness, it's important to remember that we don't have to take their negative behavior and emotions personally. We have the right to set boundaries and say no to what is contrary to our inner harmony. We can choose to remain calm and independent of their negativity. Instead of letting them control our emotions, we can keep our power and focus on what is truly important to us. Of course, this isn't always easy. Perhaps some of these disgruntled people may be people close to us or co-workers, But we can apply Stoic principles and gain our inner wisdom by not allowing their negativity to affect our lives. Remember the words of the Stoic Marcus Aurelius: "Your inner well-being depends solely on yourself." Instead of reacting to disgruntled people with our negativity or irritation, we can practice compassion and understanding. We can realize that these people may be suffering themselves, and their negativity is a manifestation of their own problems. Let's say you have a co-worker who is always complaining about work and spreading a negative mood around the office. Instead of getting caught up in his energy and allowing him to lower your mood, you can stay calm and focus on your tasks. Remember that you don't have to accept his displeasure, and that your inner well-being should not depend on his behavior. Or you have a relative in your family who is always criticizing you and is never satisfied with your decisions. Instead of trying to please him or her or changing your behavior, you can set boundaries and say no to things that go against your values. Remember that you are entitled to your own opinions and choices, and no one can force you to change. We should never accept negativity and give them power over our lives. Practice compassion, but don't let resentment define your inner state. Type number 10. People who don't respect your boundaries. In our lives, we often encounter people who do not know how to respect our personal boundaries and enter our space with unwanted requests, demands, or intrusive comments. But we should always be able to protect our boundaries and say no to those who cross them. We can be assertive and maintain our autonomy by not allowing others to run our lives. Imagine you have a friend who is constantly asking you to do something that is actually overstepping your boundaries or violating your personal time and space. Remember, you have the right to set boundaries and say no when you need to take care of your own needs. Epictetus said, "Take care of yourself first, and only then of others." Saying no to this friend shows healthy self-esteem and respect for your time and energy. The philosophy of Stoicism helps us find the strength and wisdom to stand up for ourselves and say no to those who try to violate our personal space and needs. Remember that you are entitled to your boundaries and deserve respect. The Stoics taught us that we have the power to control our reactions and choices. By saying no to inappropriate demands, we protect our autonomy and maintain harmony in our lives. Be stoic in defending your boundaries and strive for harmony and happiness in your life. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius: "Set boundaries and do not allow into your life that which disturbs your harmony and peace." In conclusion, would like to emphasize that when we say no to these types of people, it is an act of strength and ego. The Stoics taught us to value our property, freedom, and inner peace. When we say no to those who do not respect our identity and boundaries, we protect our mental harmony and maintain control over our lives. Only we can decide what we are willing to accept and what we are willing to reject. Remember the words of Seneca: "It is better to walk your way alone than to walk with the crowd and get lost." Sometimes saying no can mean standing alone against the many, but it is a manifestation of our steadfastness and being true to ourselves. Remember that your time, energy, and health are valuable resources worth giving to those who deserve them. Together with the great Stoics, we can find the strength and motivation to create healthy relationships and achieve harmony in our lives. Recognize your worth, set boundaries, and strive for well-being and happiness. Be stoic in protecting your identity and walk your path with confidence and self-love. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Be strong and strive for true freedom and harmony. Good luck on your path.